Welcome everyone. I'm sitting down with BoleiroRaiz, BoleiroRaiz, Brazilian roots or baller roots?
Boleiro is football player or soccer player, and Raiz roots. So baller, yeah, roots baller.
BoleiroRaiz.
Yeah, Boleiro.
All right. So we're here. So Guilherme has Guy, as I call him. He has a pretty interesting story. We have met through our MBA course and playing football in England. We were roommates. We lived together. I've known Guy for about 3-4 years now.
Yeah, 4 years.
And we've lived together for 1 year.
Feels like a lot more than that.
But it feels like definitely a lot more than that. So I love Guy came to visit New York. This is his first time in New York, and we're sitting here today, sponsored by Enlightened Athletics and Active in Your Dreams. So Guy is someone that, for me, living with him, seeing his journey, has really been active in his dreams and really been pursuing the things that he loves and that he wants. And I think that he really has an interesting story that we all can kind of learn from and hear about. And so I would just want to ask Guy, could you tell us a little bit about your story coming from Brazil to America, playing in America, and then in England, and now in Spain? How was that?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Brandon Turner and the sponsors of the channel, of the podcast. So thank you for having me here, and thank you for having me in your house as well, in your apartment. It's lovely, as you can see, and I'm loving New York. But yeah, so coming from Brazil, I was born and raised in Rio de Janeiro, and as you all know, Brazil is a developing country. It's a really nice country and has like a lot of natural beauty, but to build your life there, it's a really difficult place to do that, you know. And that's why I was always thinking about living abroad and trying to maybe live in a different country, in a different place, in order to have a good quality of life, maybe one day raise a family. That's when I was like a teenager, you know. So thinking about the future, problem was that it's really expensive to leave Brazil and go live in like the US or in Europe, or I don't know, in like first world countries. So through soccer, I found this alternative. I found out that I could come and play in the US with a scholarship, and that's what I did. That's a like long story short, you know. So when I turned 18, I got a scholarship at Union University in Tennessee, and it was amazing. Like, it changed my life coming to the US. I grew so much and learned so much in like spiritually, physically, and academically. So that was my journey to the US. And I think from all the countries that I lived in, Brazil, US, England, and Spain, the US was the place where I changed the most, you know. Even though I spent 18 years in Brazil, my 5 years in the United States shaped me, because it was my first years as an adult person. So it was like a huge impact for me living in Tennessee, and I visited different places and played soccer across the US. It was amazing.
Could you tell us a little bit how you got this scholarship, and what ways did you kind of put yourself out there to have coaches see and get a scholarship coming from Brazil?
Right. So 10 years ago, there weren't many companies that did that for you. Nowadays, there are a bunch of like companies that they reach out the coaches for you, and they make that contact. They film you, make highlight videos for you. But 10 years ago, it wasn't really like that. So 10 years ago, Instagram didn't even exist, for example. And so I just had to come up with some footage of me playing. So my brother filmed me playing with my friends in like tournaments in my city, and it was actually through contacts that I got my scholarship, because my mom had a third-degree cousin that was married with a coach that coached in Tennessee. So I only made contact with one university through, like, she called her cousin that she hadn't seen in like years. But it was actually like thanks to my mom, because I was 17 years old at the time. I had no idea of how to go and leave Brazil and come live in the U.S. You know, I didn't have money. I didn't have the ideas. I didn't know how to activate my dream. You know, so it was actually with the help of my family, I was able to make the connection and talk to the coach, and then the coach talked me through the process. So he had to see me playing soccer, and then he was able to offer me a scholarship. And then I came to the U.S. and when I arrived and I played, then I got like almost like 100% scholarship. But because, you know, it's different when you're playing and when you're in the video, you know, like when you're playing in like you know, when they film, how do you say it?
The actual match.
Yeah, actual match is different than footage.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and nowadays I have a YouTube channel that I help the Brazilian kids with this type of knowledge, because there's still, even though now a lot of people know about this, how to go and play soccer in the United States, there are still a lot of people that don't know. And through my YouTube channel, BoleiroRaiz, I try and help my audience to do that. The people that have the interest of playing in the United States or even playing in Europe soccer, I tell them how to do it step by step, and through my experience and others' experiences, I try to help them achieve that and activate their dreams.
That's awesome. So you say you played in Europe, you played in England, you played in America. How did you get to Europe, and how did that experience shape you?
Right, so that was the next step in my career, right? So I finished playing in the United States. I didn't know what to do next. It's really difficult to get into the MLS, especially because I played in Division II. It wasn't a Division I school. So I thought my soccer career was over. You know, I thought that's it. And that's a stage with I think every college athlete goes through. It's like you've been doing this your whole life, and then it comes to a point where you need to stop and you need to start working in, like, I don't know, like a normal job, like an 8 to 5 job, and you can't really follow your dream, right? Because if you're a college athlete, you've been doing that your whole life, and you want to continue doing that for your whole life, you know, or until you're like 40 years old or something in a competitive environment. So through Raiz, right? They sent an email, which is right there.
Raiz. So that's how we met.
Yeah.
Guy and I met through Raiz, Richmond International Academic Soccer Academy.
So they sent an email to my coach, and my coach sent it to me. So I was like, I can continue playing soccer and in Europe in the same, like more or less the same scheme that we're playing. So I was like really excited, and I was like, is it too good to be true, or how can we do that? And if you can explain more about Raiz, that'd be cool, because you're explaining better than me.
No. So Raiz is the program that we met, and that I've also reached out to. They reached out to me saying, "Oh, we have this experience," and it was such an unbelievable kind of experience. Where
did you know that was possible before they contacted?
Didn't really know that was possible.
Me neither.
Get your master's as well as play after college. We always think 4 years. If you're not going to the MLS, then that's it. If you want to go get your master's, you can't play for that 5th year unless you did a red shirt. But if you play your 4 years, you want to get your master's after, that's the end of soccer.
Yeah.
Unless you're.
It's like a sad moment when you're like your senior year, you play your last game, and you're like, but it doesn't have to be the end.
So soon to find out, right? So made us realize that it didn't have to be them. We can still continue our education. We can still continue to live our dream, activate our dream, and playing the game that we love and have passion for in another country as well.
So that opened up a whole new world, for us. And after living in England, I found out about all the leagues that are available in England, Germany, France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, and the list goes on. And you can still play at like a really good level and keep studying or keep working. And if you're good enough, you can make it to the big leagues. And after playing in England for a year, I went to live in Spain, and I'm now playing the Spanish third division. And it's awesome because one of my teammates got offered to go up to like Segunda B, which is the next tier. And from that you can go to second division or first division. And that's amazing because if you're young enough, I lost a couple of years because I didn't play for a year before going to England. And then after I graduated in England, I also stopped playing again, so I lost a lot of time because I didn't have the knowledge, that it was possible to keep playing and studying and working in other countries. Playing, you don't have to be like in Real Madrid or Barcelona. You can still make your way up. And I didn't know that was possible. I thought it was like you make it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not true, and I think the majority of people think if they don't make it to the pros when they're like 18, 19, 20, they're done, and that's not true.
That's an awesome realization for a lot of people,
Yeah.
no doubt. So moving a little bit on, I'm aware that you're getting your doctorate in Spain as well.
Mm-hmm.
What are you getting your doctorate in?
So I'll say it in Spanish, is Doctorado en Economía y Empresa. So it's basically a PhD in economy and business. It sounds a lot harder than it actually is, but well, it is kind of hard. But I've been always playing and studying. I've been a student athlete for almost 10 years in the US, and then in England, and then in Spain, because I think I have like this way of thinking that, like making like a poker analogy, you shouldn't just go all in one part of your life. You can go like in principles that I learned in college, personal finance, that you have to have like a diversified portfolio.
Diversify your market.
Yeah, so it's the same for your life. If you're making an investment, you don't invest everything in one company, because if that company makes a bad decision, then you lose all your money. So it's the same for your life. So I've invested a lot of my time and efforts in soccer, but also in my studies and also working, because something goes wrong, you can fall back on the other parts of your life that you have invested on. And I've always invested in studying. I've always been playing and studying. And to be honest, I don't really like studying, but I think it's necessary. And if now I'm 27, I'm not going to be playing football for too long. But my career is going to be going on until I'm old, 60s, 70s. So my PhD is something, it's like my first dream will be a football player, soccer player. And then my second dream was to be like a professor at university. That's why I'm doing my PhD.
So getting to the question, back to kind of what you just touched on, is there any other dreams that you do have? And so what are those dreams? Could you tell us a little bit more about what are those dreams?
Yeah. So like we were talking yesterday, I was talking with Brendan about how we, in our daily lives, we have a thought, wow, it would be really cool to do that, but then you just forget about it and you just don't know how to do it. I don't know. So I have dreams, I guess you can say smaller dreams daily, like everybody else. And one of my latest was last year. I started my YouTube channel 1 year ago. And I was like, wow, it'd be really cool to show my life playing soccer and maybe help people doing it, and making videos is really cool. So this was one of my most recent dreams that actually came true. 1 year ago, I didn't even have a channel. Now I have a small Brazilian audience, and I've helped these people because we get in contact. Like, I've helped like maybe I don't know if like hundreds or dozens of people to reach their dreams of get a soccer club and get tryouts for teams in Europe and in the US, get scholarships. So sometimes when you have a dream, you also have a huge impact on other people's dreams, and that's why it's really important to act on your thoughts and put it into practice, because it's going to be good for you and good for everybody if you have good intentions, you know. So yeah, I guess being a YouTuber, being a professor, being a soccer player, an actor, no, not an actor.
So a funny story about being an actor. Guy's first day out in New York City,
Yep.
he goes to Nike Field over in Chinatown and gets a commercial deal.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
That's really funny. So I'm just riding the bike and I see these guys with all this like filming equipment, like nice cameras, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go and ask them, you know, what's going on here. And I'm like, hey guys, what are you doing? It's like, well, we're filming a commercial for a brand. It's called
Stat
Sports, yeah. And I'm looking at the guys playing soccer, and I'm like, I play football in Spanish 3rd division, you know. If you need me to help, I'll be happy to do it. And they're like, well, I don't know, let's see. And then I'm like carefully talking to them, like, yeah, no worries, but let me know, you know, I'm good, you know. If you need me, I'm here. And they're like, okay, let's see. So 15, 20 minutes later, they're like, well, actually, we would like for you to be part of the commercial if you can help us. And I actually became the guy who passes the ball to the lead to score the goal, and that was really cool. And you know, just because I asked, if I didn't ask, they wouldn't say, hey Guy, you want to come here and join the commercial? No. So it was really cool to be like my first day in New York. I filmed a commercial with these New York actors, and they were so cool. And you know, you don't lose anything by asking. If they said no, then I was like, all right, thanks. But you just gotta be like on your feet, you know, in like the daily lives, and you have opportunities like these. And sometimes you're shy or you're afraid, you know, just be respectful and, you know, ask. It doesn't hurt asking.
Shout out to Stat Sports for that.
Yeah, thanks for everything.